Hey everybody, I'm Joel Wanasek and welcome to Unstoppable Recording Machine. We are going to unbox machine heads. Is there anybody out there? And this is a massive, colossal session with tons of tracks, which is going to present all sorts of mixing challenges to you. If we take a look here, we've got 115 tracks in this session, and I've just basically color-coded some of this stuff. I haven't cleaned any of it up, but just to give you an idea of what we're looking at. Now, this is condensed, too. The original session was well over 160 plus tracks. I had the privilege of co-producing this track, so I have a lot of cool insight. So let's dig in so you can understand what's coming with the machine head stems here, the multi-tracks, and what you're going to get here at Nail the Mix when you work on this song. So you're going to get all these stems, and you're going to have the entire session. So let's take a look at what we've got. We've got a lot of different types of drums here going on. So let's hear all of our drum tracks. I'm just going to solo this. All right, so we've got, let's organize our stuff. We got a kick here, kick 1, kick 2, sub, and an SM91. Which is pretty cool. So they got 2 kicks and then they got sub kicks on each one. Let's hear what the 91 sounds like. Very well recorded. Sounds great. Let's hear overheads. We have 3 overhead mics. We've got a far left and left and a right, because it looks like they used a 3 mic setup. Again, those sound fantastic. Lots to work with here. We got a rides cymbal, rides here. Let's hear the rides and the hats. I don't have any of this like panned right now, but we've got a right and a left hat, which is kind of cool. So we've got some spot mics to play with, and we've got snare top and bottom. Let's hear the bottom. So you got 2 tops. So you can see you get a crazy amount of tonal options, and then he's got 5 toms, and this is one of those drummers who uses all of them. Let's have a listen to what we have. I believe I have these panned all mono, but I'll just kind of maybe approximate from a drummer's perspective what this might be panned out as in a mix. So give me a second here, and let's do it. So there's some challenges in this because we have a lot of toms, a lot of busy work, a lot of fills here. So there's a lot of drum tracks to play with. There's a lot of stuff you can do. You know, you got rooms. We've got overheads. We haven't listened to the rooms yet, I don't think. Let's hear them. Yeah, they sound great. So there's a lot of stuff you can do. You know, in a band like Machine Head, obviously it's going to be pretty metal and pretty sample heavy. But I think it's important to note that there are a lot of different room options and things like that, and places you're going to want to use automation in a song like this. And when I mixed this song, I did a lot of it myself. You know, for example, like the verses here. So in a part like this, for example, you might want to, you know, automate some of the overheads and some of the low end and stuff, so you get a more natural sounding kick drum and it doesn't just sound like a sample. So there's a lot of things in this song that are really going to test your drum mixing abilities. And like I said, in a track this big, a song this big with this many tracks, there's some real challenges. So let's take a look at what we got here for a bass tone. And you can see this is pretty baked. They sent me this tone like this. You know, they got the bass tone they wanted, so it sounds pretty good right out of the gate. Picked really hard. Sounds great. Okay, so we have a couple of different things now that make this song really interesting and complicated. So I'm going to zoom in here on the waves so you can kind of take a look. I did a ton of post-production for this song. So we've got like lo-fi pianos, we've got MIDI loops, we've got heartbeats. We've got big snares, big ass booms, sub drops. We've got full orchestra downlifters, hi-hats, percussion, pulse kicks, lo-fi piano, marching snares, synth builds, tambourines, uplifters, explodes, reverse cymbals, MIDI loops. I mean, this is pretty crazy. So let's hear some of this post-production and just kind of listen to it in solo so you can hear, and then we'll kind of throw it in the mix. And mixing this stuff is always a challenge because it's going to basically, you know, a lot of these things are impact type sounds, and impact type sounds that are booms, uplifters, explodes, heartbeats, things like that. You know, they're very transient in nature, and things that have a lot of sub in them, like the explosions and stuff like that, they're really going to compete with your bass instruments and your kick drum. So really dialing in this stuff in the mix is going to be a real challenge for you and a lot of fun. Let's hear this. So you can hear we got all kinds of crazy sounds in this song. Let's hear it in context now. You can hear how much flavor that adds to the song. Let me take it out. So the post-production really brings a lot of life to this song and kind of takes it to another level. Let's head forward to the chorus and have a listen to what we got. So we got a lot of different things going on. So they recorded live strings for that, and we've got, let me see, 58. We've got about, 20 or so, a little bit over 20 tracks of strings. We've got violas, we've got violins in here, and there's different parts that have different pannings, for example. So that's kind of cool. Let's solo this stuff out so you can hear it. So you're going to have to really combine the real strings here, and I think I have a string layer in here that I programmed when I wrote this part originally. So combining the real orchestration with the fake orchestra, the real orchestra gives it the dynamics, the fake orchestra gives it the epic, massive feel. So let's just hear the production for this section. Anybody listening to me? Anybody else scared? The paranoia drops me to my knees. Does anybody feel lonely? I see, is there anybody out there? So you can see there's even uplifters and pop elements in this song, even though this is a metal band and a metal song. Let's move on to the bridge now and see what some of the other stuff is. Let's hear this section. Let me unmute this. Sorry, my CPU does not like all of the tracks here playing at the same time, even though it's decked out. This is a lot of audio. So we've got some more string sections. Let's hear the post. We've got some tremolo, some spooky bridge stuff. Let's get into the heavy part. Arpeggiators. And all kinds of crazy stuff. So you can see there's a lot of challenge in getting all of the post-production in the song and all this flair to really, really cut through and sound fantastic, you know, and get this all in the mix. This is not just a guitar, bass, and drum song like a lot of metal songs are, with some vocals on top. There is a really, really complicated dynamic. There's a lot of orchestration that you're going to need to sort. There's a lot of post-production and booms, explosions, reverses, all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's also kind of a study in producing a song and making it come to life and just making it not essentially a guitar-based song. So when I heard this the first time and Rob Flynn sent me the tracks, it was kind of interesting because I sat back and it was just bass, guitar, drums, and vocals. I'm like, man, can I screw around with this? Because I got really inspired. I'm like, I want to try throwing in some crazy stuff. And he was like, sure. So I'm gonna do some stuff that's never been on a Machine Head. I know you've done orchestration and stuff like that in the past, but let me just go nuts. And he was like, okay. And I'm like, look, you can literally delete every single thing on any track. Just let me send it to you. And he was totally open-minded to it. And I sent him a whole bunch of stuff back and he loved most of it. We cut a ton of stuff. A few other guys came in and tried doing some programming and stuff like that. And this is kind of like the final conglomerate of all of what we came up with. So it just goes to show, you know, how much spice gets added into a song like that to just make it so much more than just the guitar and the bass and the drum tracks. Let's take a look at the guitars. Now, the guitars are pretty crazy here. We have quad guitars, and we've got 421s, so let's hear the pairs, and 57s. Let's hear it all together. That is a lot of guitar. We got the whammy dive on its own track. So you've got quad guitars. There's a lot of challenges associated with that, as well as a little bit of lead guitar. We got a 57 and a 421. Now, quad guitars are pretty intimidating, and a lot of people usually will go in and because we have two mics, I mean, that's 8 tracks of guitars, and I don't remember exactly what I did when I mixed this, but I might have cut some of this down and muted some of this or, you know, favored one of the microphones or something like that. I don't remember exactly, but definitely when you're mixing quad guitars and have all these different mic options, there's all kinds of crazy cool tones that you can get. These tones are fantastic. They sound awesome. Everything is very well played in this session and very well produced. Now, what's actually kind of cool about this session is all of the guitar parts and bass stuff were recorded on tour with the band on their tour bus in an interface and a laptop. So then they would send them back and forth with me because I was compiling the master session to do the mix and all the post and doing the co-production stuff. And, you know, then they would like record some vocals in the bus and then they would record guitars and all sorts of different things. And we went back and forth and it was a lot of fun to make this song. And it was really, really challenging because, you know, imagine going on tour and singing for, you know, 3 hours straight because they were doing a Night with Machine Head tour. Excuse me. They're doing a Night with Machine Head tour by themselves, which basically means they had to go and play for 2.5 to 3 hours a night. And then, you know, getting out and trying to sing great takes and maintain your voice on tour. So that's like an incredible feat that Rob Flynn had to do when they were making this song, is be able to record this stuff and keep up with it, and as well as tour. It's pretty crazy if you think about it. All right, let's take a look at all the vocal tracks. And there's a ton of vocals here. You can see it looks like almost 40 tracks, 35 tracks or so of vocals. So we've got some lo-fi stuff baked in here.
Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there?
Whistles. Just kind of fun. We've got main vocals, like the screaming stuff. Let's hear it.
Oh, come on. Is anybody there?
All kinds of crazy printed effects vocals from the studio. Then he's got like a main.
Sebastian, no father, no master, a shadow in silence.
He's got some doubles. Let's hear it.
But I ain't going down alone. Is there anybody?
This is refreshing because you can hear there's no auto-tune on this. This band is 100% real and legitimate. Imagine that in today's day and age, a band that actually plays their music and has pride in it. It's pretty cool. So I appreciate that. So I'm rearranging some vocals here. We've got doubled vocals. So I made him double track the verse the chorus, and then I made him quad it. So basically we've got 2 left, 2 right, and a double up the center. So it sounds pretty thick.
Is there anybody out there? Anybody listening to me?
And I treat a lot of my vocals like pop vocals. So I told him, I'm like, all right, do some falsettos, do some low octaves and things like that. So I gave him a list of all the things that I was hoping that he would do. And he, Rob is just fantastic in the studio. He's really, really open-minded and just knows how to get great deliveries and performances and stack tracks. So we kind of approach this like a pop song with just a ton of open-mindedness and massive vocal stacks. So listen to all these vocals here together. I'm just panning them.
Is there anybody out there? Anybody listening to me? Is anybody else scared? The paranoia drops me to my knees. Does anybody feel lonely? Disconnected from the things I see. Is there anybody out there? Is there anybody out there? Anybody out there just like me? Out there just like me.
So you can see we really went pretty crazy on the chorus. We treated it like a pop track, which is pretty cool and fun, I think, for a metal song, because a lot of times, you don't get this many layers of vocals in a lot of the metal stuff, at least that I've worked on in my lifetime, especially like the more traditional bands. Moving forward here, we've got some gang vocals. Pretty brutal stuff. We've got a ton of harmonies and like cool vocal swell parts here. Let's hear all of it.
I have roared at the world for years. Doesn't anybody hear me? This bird has suffered. I've paid the cost.
So that's pretty cool. This is a really, really dense song with a lot of awesome parts in it. It's very challenging to mix. It's a very intricate production. This song charted in the top 40 in active rock, so that makes it cool. So we had a song that was a bit of a radio hit. So there it is. That is the song Is There Anybody Out There by Machine Head. If you want to get access to these multi-tracks, dig in and do your own mix of this, as well as see how I did it. And I mixed this song, I believe, for 12 and a half hours on live stream, which is pretty intense. I think I nailed the mix record. If you're interested in that, you should check out the link below. And if you enjoy this kind of stuff, please click like and subscribe to our channel here at Unstoppable Recording Machine. Thank you.